What's up, guys? If you are on the hunt for a gaming console, then you've landed in the right place. The 2021 gaming landscape is a completely different place since the early days when there were only one or two consoles to choose from. Back then, it was also much easier to pick the right console for you. Mario fans had to opt for Nintendo and Sonic fans had to pick Sega. Easy. To help make things a little easier, I have compiled this video to the best gaming consoles on the market and weighed up their most notable pros and cons. Your first option is the PlayStation 5. Coming in a standard edition or slightly cheaper digital edition, which comes without a disc drive, the PS5 is Sony's newest PlayStation, and it's as impressive as you would hope. Sony has reimagined the key parts of the PlayStation experience with the PS5, from a simpler setup and new well-thought-out user interface, to a revolutionary controller and added bonuses for PS Plus members. And the result is a console that feels like a genuine step up from the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro that came before it, and we can't help but be impressed. Sure, there are problems with how few first-party games there are for the console at launch, but thanks to titles like Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Sackboy, A Big Adventure and Demon's Soul, the PS5 does manage to outshine its next-gen counterpart, the Xbox Series X, in this area. Buy this if you want a taste of next-gen without losing your PS4 games. You're tired of loading screens and want higher frame rates, and you plan on buying a next-generation game console in the next 6 months. Your second option is PlayStation 4 Pro. Anything the PlayStation 4 can do, the PlayStation 4 Pro can do slightly better. However, the PS4 Pro sits below the PS5 in terms of power and capability. The PlayStation 4 Pro plays all the same games as the standard PlayStation 4. So if you're upgrading, you won't have to start your library afresh, and you won't need to pay any more for new 4K games either. You may, however, see an improvement in how they look and perform compared to the standard PS4, though they won't look or perform as well as they would on PS5. The PlayStation 4 Pro was the most powerful console in the PlayStation lineup, until the PlayStation 5 came along, capable of outputting native and upscaled 4K in games that have been patched to make that possible. Even games that haven't been specifically patched can make something of this console's greater power. You'll find images look a little sharper and games will overall run more smoothly thanks to the PS4 Pro's boost mode. Buy this if you want native 4K and HDR gaming, PlayStation exclusives, VR gaming, native 4K for under $400. Your third option is the PlayStation 4. Available in standard or slim versions, the PS4 is the baseline console offering from Sony, sitting underneath the PS4 Pro and the new PlayStation 5 in terms of power. Since it launched 7 years ago, the PlayStation 4 has been a firm fan favorite, even cementing its place second best-selling home console of all time. The console's single biggest strength is its exclusive games. In a world of increasingly service-based online titles, PlayStation continues to push narrative-driven single-player titles such as Uncharted, Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, and The Last of Us. The PS4 also offers access to new PS5 titles for the next while too, such as Spider-Man, Miles Morales, as many new releases are also cross-platform, but don't expect this to last. If you're looking to enter the PlayStation ecosystem in the most affordable way possible and you like the company's exclusives, then this is the console to go for. However, it's worth noting that cross-generational games will only last for so long and eventually will likely become PS5 releases only. Buy this if you want the latest generation games but don't need 4K, you want PlayStation exclusive games, console VR, and a console for under $250. Your fourth option is Xbox Series X. It's the latest and arguably greatest Xbox console, but the Xbox Series X isn't an essential purchase, at least, not right now. But that isn't to say it's not a fantastic piece of hardware, with a lot of potential. The next-gen Xbox is super fast, surprisingly quiet, and delivers the kind of performance that we've previously only seen from high-end gaming PCs. ensuring that games, both old and new, look and perform better than ever before. Microsoft's flagship console is as powerful as you'd expect, then, but we'd hold off on buying one at launch unless you're already heavily invested in the Xbox ecosystem, or simply want the best Xbox console experience possible right now. For everyone else, it may be worth waiting until the next-gen games library becomes more substantial. Buy this if you want. You want minimal loading times and smoother gameplay, a great audio-visual multimedia experience. To keep access your older Xbox games and accessories and more control over your storage. Your fifth option is Xbox Series S. The Xbox Series S is a next-gen console that takes a radically different approach. It's designed to offer the same generational leaps as the Xbox Series X, such as high frame rates, ray tracing and super fast load times, at a considerably lower price, and inevitably, this means it comes with a few key compromises. It has significantly less storage than the Series X, and targets a resolution of 1440p for gaming and upscales to 4K when connected to an Ultra HD display. A couple of titles are capable of native 4K, such as Ori and the Will of the Wisps, but this is a machine designed to run games at a lower resolution. For Xbox One owners looking to upgrade without breaking the bank, the Xbox Series S is a great option, if you can accept what it's been designed to achieve. If you've already got the Xbox One X and a 4K display at home, however, we suggest considering the Xbox Series X instead. Buy this if you want. You're on a budget, but still want to experience next-gen gaming. You plan on mostly getting games from Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Live Gold, and you're tired of sitting through long loading screens. Your sixth option is Xbox One X. Now that the next-gen Xbox Series X has been released, the Xbox One X is no longer the most powerful Xbox console on the market. If you can get your hands on one, it's still a capable and powerful console, but given it's been discontinued, that could prove challenging. Essentially, the Xbox One X is Microsoft's counterpart to Sony's PS4 Pro, and it's a pretty good one. Just like the PS4 Pro, this console outputs native and upscaled 4K as well as HDR on games that have been patched to support these features. But because of its much better specs, the Xbox One X offers native 4K on many more games than the PS4 Pro. And it's often more consistent in maintaining a 4K output. Something also worth noting is that you may find you have to purchase a sold separately external hard drive for this console. While its 1 terabyte of built-in storage seems like a lot, 4K game files are large and it'll quickly fill up. But this is a problem it shares with the next-gen Xbox Series X and PS5. Buy this if you want native 4K and HDR support, Ultra HD Blu-ray player. Your seventh option is Xbox One S. Looking for an entry-level console but not interested in what PlayStation has to offer, or a next-gen? Why not look at Microsoft's Xbox One S? This console has superseded the original Xbox One for many reasons. It has a much smaller and sleeker design, and it's just that little bit more powerful. Something this console can do that the standard PS4 console can't is upscaled 4K. The Xbox One S's 4K capabilities aren't at the same level as the PS4 Pro, PS5, Xbox One X or Xbox Series X, as the 1080p images are largely just stretched to fit a 4K screen without any clever checkerboarding, but this rudimentary upscaling is reasonably impressive in a console with price starting from only $190. To make up for a lack of good exclusives, Xbox consoles do have much better backwards compatibility capabilities than PlayStation consoles. On Xbox One S, you'll be able to purchase and play original Xbox and Xbox 360 titles, many of which have become key classics. If you ever owned an older Xbox console and you still have the games from that, or you really want to catch up on a bunch of excellent titles you missed out on, then the Xbox One S is a great way to do this. Buy this if you want affordable but upscaled 4K, an Ultra HD Blu-ray player, excellent backwards compatibility, a console for under $250. Your eighth option is the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch is now 3 years old, and it's still proving to be very popular. This is the most unique option on the market at the moment, as you can use it both as a handheld and home TV console. On Switch you'll find a quickly growing library of games that's the most diverse offering from Nintendo in years. From thrilling exclusives like Super Mario Odyssey to essential indies like Stardew Valley, Nintendo's Switch offers all kinds of experiences. It doesn't have nearly the same power as the standard PlayStation 4 and Xbox consoles, and it certainly won't play games in 4K or support HDR. In fact, its screen is a pretty low-res 720p. So if you're looking for a console that will win the spec wars, you won't find it here. You're also less likely to find the latest and greatest third-party games on this console. While it now has titles such as Doom, Skyrim, and LA Noire, many of these have been available on other platforms for months, if not years. Buy this if you want a console that can be played on your home TV and taken on the go, access to Nintendo exclusive games, and you don't need the highest resolution and the most powerful specs. And your last and ninth option is the Nintendo Switch Lite. The most recent addition to the Nintendo family comes in the form of the Nintendo Switch Lite, a dedicated handheld alternative to the original Switch. The Switch Lite boasts the same power as the original, but comes in a smaller and lighter package. It's also worth noting that the Lite is a solely handheld device, and while you can connect Joy-Cons to it, it's meant to be used by a single player. That means you can't dock it, and it doesn't actually come with any Joy-Cons in the box. It also means that you can't play all the games in the Switch library, mainly those that require docked mode or are party games. While Joy-Cons will attach, the screen is a bit too small to play properly. Like the Nintendo Switch, you may need separate micro SD card for this console at some point, as its internal memory is restrictive. Buy this if you want a more portable, comfortable alternative to the Nintendo Switch. And that's it, guys. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Bye bye.